Alright, we back. Listen, this pretty much just gonna be my BMF video. Big time Max fan, not gonna lie. Y'all see the channel emblem, y'all see all that. Clearly, I'm a Max guy. Nothing wrong with Charles. I love Charles. Who don't love Charles? But if Max lose, I will be devastated. Not gonna lie. I want to see Max. I really don't want to see either of them lose. But, like, this is going to be a great fight. Like, you know what I mean? Because everybody that really loves the sport, like, not just watches it in passing or more casual with it. If you love the sport, you more than likely like both of these guys because they never give you a boring fight. They've both been champs. They both had good runs to becoming champs. They both had great defenses. Entertaining defenses with finishes. Like, Charles got the most finishes in UFC history. Max punches people and uses his fist like, you know, he's going to lose them if he doesn't punch you 400 times. He got the most significant strikes. Charles has like 14 submissions and like 8 knockouts. It's ridiculous. When you see them fight, you know something good is going to happen. A lot of CTE is coming that way. Now, obviously, as you can see right here, I'm giving out belt and CTE. Got to turn the pressure up because, you know, once you get that first rock, you just got to let people know it's over. Especially if you're going to be in a BMF video like this. Look, he realizes it's over, so I'm going to go low, and he's going to quit. But we have another fight, so it's okay. Look, going to the next fight. Another Gaethje, by the way. But yeah, back to the BMF thing. I do think we're going to get a finish. I think either way it's going to be a finish. Now, Max, to his, I guess it would be his benefit. Charles is being dumb. Charles, like, if he points down, if he I'm sorry. If he point down in the first 10 seconds, I'm going to stand there and throw everything I got. Charles, I love you. Don't do that. I do not pay, like, slightly under $15 for you to go out there and decide that you want to have a 10.5-second fight with Max Holloway. Please let this fight go at least 3 rounds of violence. And secondly, if he were to do that and Max is winning, he's coming off of a KO. Hopefully he took enough time. We're not going to see that whole chin is compromised thing. Hopefully they both have good weight cuts. Nobody comes in depleted. And, you know, you see the thing where it's like, oh, they came in a little, you know, too depleted. And next thing you know, they get one jab and it's like glossy-eyed. Like, no, we don't want to see that either. We're fans. We're fans. We love BMF fights. Every fight, I believe, has been a finish. Every BMF title fight except for... No, even the first one. Masvidal and Nate Diaz, I believe it ended because of a cut. Because, you know, the doctor was like, hell no. But, yeah, so all of these are finishes. They lead to a good thing, and, well, this won't lead to a good thing because, you know, whoever wins after Justin Gaethje is probably getting that Ilya rematch unless, you know, Dana starts to not hate Armand. By the way, if people do that Rolling Thunder, just getting this out there, cutting myself off, when they do that Rolling Thunder, throw a head kick because you can't block. They literally have to get up, and when they get up, they're just peak vulnerability for a head kick. You might knock them out. You might just drop them every single time. I believe it's a drop every single time. But you might also get that flash KO. Just remember that. Anyway, back to the BMF title fight. I'm excited for Max. Because Max, ever since block counter, by the way. Max is, after he lost the Volk that, was it the second time? I think, after the first time he puts it, I think after the second time, we get Calvin Kattar. And we got something else. And then he got the third attempt. Now, that Max, every time he has his back against the wall, he goes to another level. That guy is out of here, by the way. New fight. Every time Max gets to that other level, he proves he's an elite guy. No matter what you do, he is elite at fighting. He was a champ for a reason. He's one of them ones. He's fast. He puts combos together well. He stays on the front foot. He attacks the lead leg really good with the lead oblique. Well, I guess not called a lead oblique. It's called like a lead side kick to the leg. But it's just a lead oblique. And he does all that. He does the lead oblique, the body jab, then eventually comes up top, jab, straights, hooks, double body hooks. He loves that. But in this game, you don't throw him like that. He throws him like kind of like a Diaz brother, and by Diaz brother I mean Nick. Like most of the time when I'm talking about punch, when I'm talking about body work, and I mentioned the Diaz brother, I am talking about Nick. His technique was better, but it's like the wides. It's like the slapping to the body, but they're digging with the shots. So when Max does it, it's not like turned over like in this game where when you throw the rear hook, your body's just going low and and you're like really low in the center. It's like he's kind of stood up and he's just like going to the body, keeping his head up at head level. I wish the punches looked like that in the game, because when you try to do double body work in this game, it doesn't look like that. But he does do that. He stays high, keeps aware of what's going at him. His eyes are up and he's getting to the body, and then he keeps his chin tucked a little bit so he's not susceptible to get punched. He can still see what's coming at him, get out the way. You saw that with Calvin Kattar. You saw that even with Volk, and you see it against Jair. Like when he slips away from punches really well for somebody that leads the UFC history with most times hit. Don't let that make you think Max just goes out here and gets pummeled. He doesn't do that. He just does engage, so he will get hit. But he is sharp defensively. He's not just a punching bag. A punching bag is Yuri Prochazka. Yuri Prochazka will let you hit him. Max doesn't do that. He just gets hit sometimes. Very, very different defensive philosophies. But with that being said, Max does get to the body well. He has developed... Well, he's had that jumping, spinning body kick for like... I'd say he didn't have it when he first got in the UFC. He spun. He did like spinning kicks and kicks altogether because he was a kickboxer first. But he's had that legitimately down pat, I'd say, for like 8 years. What is it, 2026? For like 8 years he's had that in his bag to where he would pull it out in a title fight. But I'd say he's had it down packed for like 5. Like that shit is a science now. He has good like leg kick, but it looks weak. I'm not gonna lie, it looks weak. Even though when I like went through, I was watching his. Ironically enough, it was this. I was rewatching his fight with Dustin, and his leg kick at lightweight, you do realize he got bigger. Like when you look at his featherweight fights and then you look at lightweight, you realize, damn, he did get bigger. Like he's a little bit thicker in the legs, which is where most people get when they bulk up. That is why also he hits harder, because all your power in striking comes from your legs. If you have a good base and you plant well and turn with your hips, you have like powerful legs and good hips, you're gonna punch hard as fuck. But like outside of that, it's pretty much that. That's where he got better at. He just actually built the muscle up. He did his own thing. He took the time to build the muscle up, strike better, adjust to the weight, adjust to the cut. Versus when he first came up and fought Dustin, where he just kind of put weight on to get to 155, but he was still on a 145 frame. And that's why in his new lightweight run, he's been hurting people. He's fast. He's fast as ever. He's still staying sharp. He has his technique. This is where I say athletes do a lot of their best work, whether it's basketball, football, or fighting. When you finally have enough experience, so your athleticism was at its peak. When he was champ, he was fast as all living hell, right? So his athleticism was at his peak, and he was kind of smart, and he had experience. He had like 20 fights at that point. Now he's at like 30-something fights. He's slightly slower, but he was always fast. It's like Mayweather. If you're faster than everybody at 23, and then at 33, which I think Max is now, you're just like one of the fastest guys ever. You were the fastest by far. Now you're just one of the fastest. And in this division, he might still have the fastest hands. That's why it's like, so he's older, still has the fastest hands, but his mind is there. His IQ is sharper. He sees things better. He knows where to engage, where not to engage. He knows when he's winning around, when to take his foot off the gas, when to pour it on, what judges like to score. Because he has the experience now. So once your experience and your athleticism are meeting, that's where you do your best work. That's why Volk did his best work against like Korean Zombie and Max the third time, because his experience and his sharpness were meeting. Max was putting a clinic on Yair. They were going back and forth. That was cool. Ortega, you saw when Max was young. Now, his best clinic when he was older And by older, he was like 29 at the time, but 29 for Max was like 30-something fights. So when he fought Calvin Kattar, I'd say that is where you first start to see his IQ of all the fights he'd been in and his sharpness, as in his athleticism meeting. That's where I'm trying to like get you at, so you understand what I'm trying to say. And that's when we got one of the best performances. You saw him against Korean Zombie. He had something to prove. He had something on his heart. He had something on his chest for real. And he just had to get that off. And when he met Korean Zombie, he was like, I am the best. That's how he felt, and he had to prove it. When you have something to prove, that's when it's the worst. But his IQ was also meeting his physical talents, and then Korean Zombie was just getting old, and Max said, "You're done," and KO'd him. We saw Max like KO somebody, and that was at 45. And then you see Gaethje, and when he fought Gaethje, who people try to tell me is a punching bag, but look who's interim champion now. Gaethje is a very good fighter, and he's also smart. Gaethje was just reckless as all hell, and then he toned it down, developed a jab, still has leg kicks, and listens to his coaches. I promise you, listening to your coaches will get you far. If you are coachable and you have talent, that'll take you way farther than just talent. So Gaethje has now put himself in a position where he's the interim champ in this division that we love Max and Charles in. So he's not done. He's not trash, and he beat Paddy Pimblett, a much younger guy who was peaking off of staph infection. So I say all that to say Gaethje wasn't washed when he fought Max. He even was the first guy to really drop Max. That's why Max and Gaethje was another display of his athleticism meeting his IQ. And that's why I say Max at lightweight is one of his best forms. And he's putting it all together. And Charles is coming off of that knockout loss, and he is also putting it all together. But Charles has never been fast. Charles has always been sharp, and then on the ground, he's smart as hell. So if he were to get Max, I think it'd be from him catching Max with something and then subbing him. I don't think it would be like when he fought Beneil Dariush, and then Beneil just realized, damn, Charles ain't the fastest, but I'm slow as hell. And then he gets overwhelmed by some things. Charles gets up from the grappling exchange, and the next thing you know, you're getting hit with a head kick in Montreal, and you think you're tweaking because Charles is speaking English. Like, that's where you don't want to be. You don't want to be Charles is speaking English in a foreign country now. No, that's when you know you got beat bad. That's the Beneil Dariush story. I don't think Max goes out like that. I think Max will win this fight, but if somebody told me this is a 50-50, I'm not mad at you for thinking it's a 50-50. Very much agree. It could go either way, but I'm leaning Max. I'm leaning like 60-40 Max. I think Charles stays in exchanges too long, and since it's a BMF fight, I think he'll try to play it to the crowd a little bit more. And if you try to fight Max on the feet like you're fighting Michael Chandler, you will get tuned up and you'll get body worked a little bit, and next thing you know, you're a little tired going into what might be the second and third round. And then if you're going into the third round or the fourth round, you're like, damn, he kind of putting a pace on. And then you try to keep up, which I feel like Charles is the type to either try to hit you with something big or try to keep up with you. And next thing you know, you didn't train to keep up with that. And I don't mean he didn't train to fight fast. He probably did train to fight fast. But we know when Max is at the top of his game, fighting fast is like 300 strikes, whereas somebody else fighting fast might be 150, 190 to 200 or something through 3 rounds. Max might be at 300 total strikes through 3 rounds. And that's something everybody doesn't fight for. You know what I mean? So when you view it like that, I think Max does have the ability to do whatever he needs to do to get this win. But I do believe Charles also has the ability. I'm not saying Charles is just going to get steamrolled. I don't even think Max is just going to dog walk Charles either. I think it's going to be a real good fight. I think you'll get your money's worth. What is Paramount? Like $13? You'll get that $13. It is worth it. But, you know, take your time. Enjoy the fight. Enjoy the card. I'm not talking about the rest of the card because that drop-off, because we know why we're here. We're not here to watch RDR and Kyle Bahio, right? Like, we didn't sit down to be like, this is the fighter we're waiting for. We're waiting for the main event. And that's what I'm talking about, the main event. So, shout out Max. Shout out. As you can see right here, I'm blacklining him. Like, I'm just keeping the pressure on him. But I feel like that's not something Max would do. We got 10 seconds left. Let's point to the ground. Go to the body, and I get clipped because I'm not Max Holloway. But I'm not a bitch neither. He got to hold that knockdown. So, yeah. If you're going to point to that ground, point to the ground in a fight you're winning. I am winning this despite how my face looks. I'm pretty sure I've banked like every round. It's just been semi-competitive because same reason as their fights in real life. Dustin hits a little bit harder. So with good move levels and I overextend in a pocket, he might get a rock. But I was getting drops. I think I dropped him in the first, or I just outpaced him in the first. And then I dropped him in the second, and then I dropped him at the end of the third. And he's not dropping me. So I'm winning this fight even though you saw me get rocked right there. But he's, look at that. You see how I'm playing with him? Listen, when I say playing with him, I'm not extending the fight because Dustin hits hard and I've been rocked. So I don't want to throw just anything. But I threw something and then I waited to see if he threw the lead hook. He threw the lead hook. I threw the same similar thing and then he threw a lead hook again. So I'm trying to get him to throw that lead hook because it's on my lead hand and then I can block counter him like I did in round 2, right? So if you can set up something like that to where you see somebody responds to something the same way. Like if you saw when you step in slightly and feint a straight and they throw a calf kick, right? I would step in, step back, feint a straight. And then when the calf kick misses, fire off a head kick. Because now you've baited them into a head kick counter. As I say that, I'm trying to bait him into a lead hook. I baited him into a lead hook, but I got hit by it. Then it doesn't even matter because when I tried to block counter him, I was still rocked. So right here, we're going to do it again. We're going to try and set him up. As you see, I'm pumping my block high. I'm not pumping between high and low. I'm pumping high. Right there, he threw a lead hook. I block countered him. I dropped him. Look at his stamina. Look at mine. That was the worst thing I could do. Look, who do I think I was? Who did I think I was? Did I think I was Max there? I tried to go for the jumping body spin kick as he was walking away from it. That's a big no-no. You never... When somebody's walking away from your spinning kick, you don't throw it. Because all they have to do is fire off a head kick after you miss it. Luckily, I knew he wasn't going to head kick counter me, right? So we're good. But I'm switching stances, trying to bait the... As you see, still trying to bait that lead hand off. He's not adjusting. He's still throwing it. So I throw the lead hook back to try and get him to throw it again. Now I see he's throwing it consistently. Now I'm just feinting. Now I'm feinting to try and get a hook out of here. But he's not throwing it. But I'm going to take my time because stamina's low and he can't just hit me. If I were to go low and get clipped by something right here, it's over for me. But as he's taking so much head damage that it doesn't even matter. Now, I do kind of want to go to the end of this round, but I block countered him and got the KO. Woe is me. But I was trying to take that at least to the last 10 seconds, and I was going to try and catch him again. If I would have block countered him in the last 10 seconds after pointing to the ground, would have been chef's kiss. But it's not what happened. I got a block counter like I normally do on this page. So, shout out block counters, shout out Darce Chokes, shout out Max Holloway. Max Holloway in 3, that's what I'm banking on. And yeah, you know, that's it. That's it for the video. Shout out to BMF, shout out to UFC. Like, subscribe, share the video. And yeah, I'm out. Thanks for watching.